What were your favorite vintage Star Wars Kenner toys? Now, which ones do you think were the best designed and engineered toys? Because today, I'm listing what I think are the top 10 best engineered Star Wars toys from Kenner. Is my list gonna match yours? Well, let's go. Welcome back to the journey. Now, ever since I went to my first toy convention this year, I got to sit in on some amazing panels, not only from the actors and some well-known artists, but the people who made the toys as well. And I got to sit with some of them one-on-one and talk toys. And that made me realize there is a lot of engineering that goes into making these toys. And not just in the intricate parts that fit together, but in the way that the engineers had to create a durable and cost-effective product that a 3.57-inch figure could actively fit in. So in this episode, let's celebrate the designers and engineers who had to make the toys at Kenner. So here is my top 10 best engineered vintage Star Wars toys. Number 10, the speeder bike. Released in 1983 on the Return of the Jedi line of toys. This one mainly takes the list because of how affordable it was for parents to buy, which means more kids were able to have them, like me. But this vehicle came with a ton of play inside a small package, a nice one-to-one design, and it was nicely engineered to be able to fit a figure on it securely. And with the explode feature, it made this an awesome toy. Even the back flaps and the spring landing gear was a nice added touch. Number 9, the Rancor monster. First available in 1984 on the Return of the Jedi line of toys. Now, this may be a surprise adding an action figure to this list, but when you think about the best engineered toys, this one has to be considered. Not only does it have a great mold and great detail in the small features, but it's a sturdy build. And when you hold one of these, you can feel the quality. It's also an excellent one-to-one depiction of the figure to that of what we saw on the screen. And with all the articulation and movement in the jaw, the wrists and arms, and the ability for this monster to hold a figure in its claws and still stay on its feet, great engineered and durable figure from Kenner. Number 8, the Droid Factory. First released in 1979. This may be another surprise to collectors to have it on this list, but here's my case. It's here because of how different this playset is, and it's the only playset to have a build feature. Not just in one object that you build and it's a one-time assembly. No, kids can either use the included blueprints and create what was suggested, or they can modify their own creations. Endless play. Plus, you got an R2-D2 with a third leg. Number 7, the original TIE Fighter and the X-Wing. Both released in 1978. So why are they listed together on this list? Because they were designed together with the same thought process in mind. And here is the historical engineering significance. A lot of people believe the rumor that Kenner decided on the size of the action figures being 3.75 inches inside a meeting where Kenner President Bernie Loomis made his hand in a gesture like this, measuring how big he thought the figure should be, when in reality, Kenner designer Jim Swearingen used Fisher-Price's Adventure People as the kit bash model, and he did this because they were the perfect size, 3.75 inches, to design ships and vehicles around. And Jim knew that getting the ships and vehicles right was the key in making Star Wars line of toys a success. So it wasn't really the action figures that drove the main point of the line, it was rather them designing the X-Wing and TIE Fighter that would fit the action figures. That's what makes the engineering of the TIE and X-Wing so important to the entire Star Wars Kenner line, and that's why both of them make this list at number 7. Number 6, Slave One, Boba Fett spaceship. First released in 1982 for the Empire Strikes Back line of toys. The main thing to take wonder at is the one-to-one design with the movie and the excellent detail in the mold. But the number of play features makes this excellent as well, and the engineers made sure to fit as many of them as possible. You could place the figure in the ship by removing the cockpit glass, but the better way was using the chair lever that moved the pilot seat from the cockpit to the cargo hold, along with the removable door that opened up to hold an almost mini playset. With the addition of the gravity wings that moved on a horizon with the fuselage, perfect one-to-one capture of how the movie Slave One behaved. Not only was this ship designed to be durable and affordable, but you also got Han Solo in carbonite. Number 5, the Imperial Shuttle. The mother of all gifts to open up on Christmas because of the sheer size of the box. This was first released in 1984 for The Return of the Jedi. It's a great one-to-one depiction in the design of the movie ship. It's structurally sound and was able to make the design in the wings durable and able to fit inside a box for store shelves. That was a feat in engineering in itself, as well as designing for 3.75-inch figures while hitting the mark on price points that parents would pay for at least Christmas and birthdays. And with the original price in 1984 being $37.99, that would be the equivalent of around $115 today.
To help me keep creating content like this, please become a YouTube channel member. With membership starting as low as 99 cents a month. You'll get early access to videos before the public does, members-only live streams, extra entries into all giveaways, and special member shoutouts. Just hit the join button below the screen, and welcome to the Academy.
Number 4, the B-Wing. First available in 1984 on the Return of the Jedi line of toys. When I asked the question, what are the best engineered toys, to my YouTube community tab, most people said this ship. When you think of complicated toy engineering, most of us first thought of the gravity-controlled gyroscope cockpit that always seemed to stay on the horizon. With making the wing spoils fold in and out, and the unique way the ship looked, this was one of the best ships designed by Kenner. It was amazing how many looks and designs that Kenner got right to match the movie, and this one was definitely one of them. Number 3, the Scout Walker, released in 1982 for The Empire Strikes Back. Even when I was a kid, I was amazed at how all these moving parts work together to make such a lifelike vehicle. The toy engineers at Kenner made this not just a toy, but a work of art. And the main feature of this engineering is in the walking mechanism. Its one-to-one likeness with the movie is excellent, and the way that it fits the action figures works absolutely great. But not only is the design great, but getting all of this to be durable and not break on the first day or in 40 years is absolutely genius. But how many of us lost the hatch and the hatch laser on the first day? Number 2, the Millennium Falcon. Is it a vehicle? Is it a playset? Whatever you decide, this is one of the most iconic ships in history. Released in 1979, let's talk about why this ship is a great feat of toy engineering. We all saw the inside of this ship in the movie. It wasn't just a cockpit, but this was Han Solo's home. It was basically Han and Chewie's space RV.
Gimme paw!
So the engineers over at Kenner should be given a good pat on the back for not only getting the look and the detail of the ship right, but to fit it in a full playset where action figures could have adventures with memorable scenes from the movie and make it cost effective and somewhat durable.
I mean, the main reason why this ship is at number 1 is because I can never get the landing gear to stay down. And if you're enjoying the content so far, please hit the like button. That does support the channel. And also, please consider subscribing. And please visit the PadawanCollector.com, where you can see blogs, bonus material, and you can visit the Collector Depot for accessories that you may need for your collection.
Number 1, AT-AT. Released in 1981 for The Empire Strikes Back. There is no question in my mind that this should be the highest on this list. First, it was a toy that probably all of us wanted, even if you weren't into Star Wars. It was just cool to look at. The one-to-one design from the movie is on point, but the marvel in the engineering was the way that they could make this a mini playground for the action figures and keep its structural integrity in place and keeping its center of gravity with all the moving parts in the articulated legs, the bulky cargo hull, and the main cockpit, which is a cool engineered feature in itself to have the puppet joystick and the cannon control in the same place.
So that was my list. Did you agree with me, or would you change around the order? Or did I leave some stuff off that you would have added? Let us all know down there in the comments. And historically, you know that when I do a top 10 list, it usually means I've gotten something on that list. And yes, technically, I have. Technically. I did get something off that list, but I bought it in a slightly different way than I usually do. I like to think of myself as an in-the-box collector, but so far, when I've got boxed items, they haven't been mint in sealed box, they've just been mint in box, and I can open them and play with them. So I'm able to see everything that's inside. But this time, I got a mint in sealed box, and I got the item graded.
Now, as a Padawan, I think it's my duty to tell you when I make mistakes. I think I've made another mistake. So here's the story. My buddy Andy from the Holo Chronicles YouTube channel Well, he was in town on a visit, so we decided to go on a toy hunt. So I took him to one of my favorite spots here in San Diego, TC's Rockets. And that place has everything, action figures of every line you can think of. And this place has some really sick vintage. You can even find the A-Team and the greatest American hero. That was my favorite show as a kid. So anyway, Andy spots something that he likes, and he asks them to take it down from the shelf. It's a gorgeous looking, mint and sealed box, Jabba the Hutt. And at the same time, I see something. It's the graded AT-ST. The Scoutwalker vehicle was first released in 1982, and it retailed for $15.98. And even though it was only featured in the Empire Strikes Back movie for a split second, everyone in that theater thought that it was the coolest looking thing. It's nicknamed the Chicken Walker for a reason. It walks like a chicken. But the engineers over at Kenner got this system down right when they decided to make the toy. It comes with a full hatch lid that opens up to reveal the full cockpit, where one figure can sit nicely at the designed stickered control panel. There's also a smaller rounded hatch that opens and closes as well. There are 4 laser cannons on the Walker, 1 on the hatch, 2 on the sides of the fuselage, and 1 dual cannon on the base of the fuselage. You make the Walker take motion by pressing an action button on the differential where the legs attach to the body. There's a lever that can activate to lock the legs in place when not in use, so the Walker can be displayed and not have the legs fold over. Now back to the toy shop. Now I can hear Andy starting to negotiate prices that he wants for the mint and sealed box Jabba, and it sounded like they couldn't come to a deal. So I'm still examining the AT-ST. The color of the litho looks great. The sides and the corners, they're not that bad at all. There is some wear, but nothing that takes away from the quality or the structural integrity of the box. So I was wondering, what makes this a 60? Because it was a 60 grade. And then I look on the top of the box and I see it. It looks like it's been crushed in just a little bit, but it's still sealed. You can just see where the dent is. So that was the only real eyesore on this thing. And it's not noticeable on display. So that's when I said, okay, I want to get this. So I started negotiating a price. And they wanted $500 for it. And I thought that price was too high for a 60 grade. And there's something that I didn't do that I'm gonna tell you about later on. So at the same time, Andy was pretty much done with negotiating. But as we started to walk away, I said, you know what? One last negotiation. What have we got to lose? Instead of walking away from 2 deals, why don't you give my friend the deal that he wants? And if you do that, I will buy this AT-ST graded instead of $500 for $400. So he went to the manager, talked to them, came back, and they said, great, you got a deal. So me and Andy walked out with the items that we wanted for the price that we wanted. Why is this a story and why does it matter? Well, I failed to research the prices for mint and sealed boxes for an AT-ST. And I failed to research what they're worth graded. And not just graded at a 80 or an 85, but what they should be priced at if they're graded sub 70. And I could have easily called some collectors right there on the spot and asked them what they thought. And I didn't do that. And the word is on the street from collectors that I talked to after I bought the item was that I paid too much by about $100. I've always said that I'm gonna be honest and tell you when I make mistakes. And if there's a lesson here, okay, fine. Buy the items that speak to you and that you really feel passionate about. And I did want this AT-ST. I used to have it when I was a kid. So I am proud to have it in that collection. But did I pay too much? I absolutely did. And could have that been avoided? And could I have negotiated that price down a little bit more? Probably. So at least I'm able to learn a lesson from this. $100 lesson. Well, at least I hope I can learn this lesson. But at least you can learn from a Padawan's mistakes. I think the big lesson for me was just because I talk down a price on an item that I really want doesn't mean it's the correct price. I even failed to go on eBay and check prices for eBay. In my mind, it was an impulse buy. And it's not the fault of any sellers or store owners out there. If you overpay, that's your problem. That's my problem. And it's my problem for not doing the correct market research. So with that lesson learned, with my tail somewhat between my legs, because no matter what, I did get a sick item and I got an item that I'm really happy to keep in my collection and it's never leaving my collection. So with that lesson learned, I did decide to get an AT-ST driver for that display case. The AT-ST driver was released in 1984 on the 77A Return of the Jedi card backs. And it comes with the gray or blue-gray Endor blaster. And I found one for sale on eBay for $40.64. On first examination, I did check the Endor blaster first, and it is legit, but looking at the action figure, there is some slight discoloration, and it looks like there's a slight pink color, but for my display case, this is perfect. So here's another first for me. I only not picked up the ATST driver, but it also came with a card back. Now, I've seen collectors get these and showcase them, and some collectors do an entire run of nothing but the card backs that have the bubble detached from them and no figure. So really, out of curiosity, I decided to get this one. And now here's a good tip from my good friend Eric, if you have card backs and a figure that belongs with it.
Here's a great idea I learned. Collect card backs. Obviously your loose figures. Then what you're going to do is go on Amazon. You're going to order what's called a top loader. I believe these are 6x9 that fit the card backs perfectly. You're also going to order 3 3/4 inch blister cases for action figures. You're going to cut off this little top piece with the hang tab. Then you're going to use some glue. Do not use super glue because it glues and it turns a kind of crusty opaque color. I recommend E6000, but any plastic glue that dries clear. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the top loader and you're going to slide it into there, and you're going to use that to position your blister pack. So what's going to happen is once you glue the blister pack in place, you can almost cover up most of where it was torn off, which is really cool. Then you pop this open, you put your figure in, and voila, you've got something that almost looks like a mint-on card, really connects that figure to that moment in the movie. And then lastly, if you want, use command strips. Put that on the back, won't damage the card. Put another one on the wall, and you can hang these and display them on your wall.
So I may do that with this card pretty soon. I just have to get those items that Eric lined out. So let's mark the items off that we got today. Starting with my CAS 60 graded Scout Walker that we got for $400 from TC's Rockets in San Diego. And let's also mark off the ATST driver that we got from a seller on eBay with the card back for $40.64 with tax and shipping included. And let's also put this ATST driver inside our display case from Collector Displays. And ladies and gentlemen, I only have 6 more figures to go to fill up that case. We're getting close, we're getting there. And I'm glad I got to sit down with the engineers and the designers over at Kenner. And if you're ever at a toy show and you get a chance to meet these people and talk to them, take advantage of it. If you get a chance to see them talk at a panel, sit there and learn from it. Enjoy it and soak it in. Because I believe that we, as this generation of collectors, owe it to the next generation to pass on these stories and to pass on that knowledge. It's not just about these amazing toys that we played with as kids, but to marvel at the engineering and the way that these were made and the designs that make them stand the test of time. So, if you enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button. That does support the channel. And also, please consider subscribing if you want to see more Star Wars and collecting content from me. And also, hit that notification bell so you know when episodes go live. I post videos every Sunday with bonus content throughout the week. And as always, my friends, thank you, and I will see you next time.
If you're new to the channel, check out the welcome video, or just check out the next episode. And please subscribe if you want to follow the journey. And remember, there is no shame in being a Padawan.